I don't think I set out like thinking I was going to be on Top Chef. The opportunity came up, and I was told in this field, if an opportunity comes, you have to seize it. This is Cincinnati chili and Greek salad and a Greek salad cocktail. And why we're having it, I think it represents a little bit about our background, that he's from Cincinnati, and it's also something that's quick and easy to make, I feel, which is part of making a delicious family meal fast. And it hits the spot, very flavorful, and it's kind of a fun story behind Cincinnati chili, so I thought that was kind of quirky.
Yeah.
Kind of fits our style.
What is Parachute Hi-Fi and how has it changed over time?
I feel like Parachute always has the same DNA as it always has. In this case, I feel like we are kind of modeling ourselves into 2025. When we opened in 2014, we were like just coming out of the Great Recession. And there's like a lot of gastropubs and this casual dining where you could get great food and probably not break the bank. We've kind of come, it feels like full circle again, you know, after everything that we've all gone through. We just wanted to kind of reimagine it again as a new but same space, you know?
So coming full circle, you've reconcepted in a sense. I mean, we can look around and you can see that there are now vintage speakers on the walls. There's huge speakers over here. There's vinyl collection, CDs, which I think is amazing that you have CDs. Why did you want to have sort of a listening bar? Like, what was the point of having a DJ booth put in where you used to have a communal table?
We wanted to have something more than food. Also, like, in the right moment, in the right vibe, in the right music, it kind of like encapsulates you into a certain mood, you know? And I think we wanted to push a little further, push a little harder, be creative, go even one step more than just food.
It's a full package sort of situation. Like, you're enjoying the food, you're enjoying the conversation with your guests, you're hopefully enjoying the conversation with the people who work here, and then to be able to wrap that up in music, it's so immersive, and people do definitely seem to enjoy them.
What are your regulars like? I mean, do you have a lot of regulars? And
We definitely are curating regulars much more than I would say like the original version of Parachute. I think it was more of like a destination, and because of that, you know, reservations got booked up quickly and things like that, whereas this I think has a little bit more of a feel of like a neighborhood bar. So the number of people that are walking in going, I've lived 2 blocks away from here for years and I really wanted to hit the original, but now, you know, we can actually come to this place consistently and not break the bank. It's fun, you know, so many different personalities are coming in. I would say maybe a little more diverse than before, but you know, I mean, that's always something that I loved about bartending, period. It's just like, so many different stories with so many different people, even within like a 2-block radius of the place that you work.
what goes into reconcepting a place with, you know, changing the decor a little bit, tweaking the menu? How difficult is it to change?
Well, we had this sense of like going back to the original, even with the pricing, and it does play into it because you're thinking, wow, how can I get a great creative dish for something that I can afford? Anyone from a college student, you know, to someone who's retired. And that was a piece that I felt like we started with Parachute, but then as we kept pushing and pushing and pushing, it felt more like a destination restaurant, to his point, which then changed the vibe, and it wasn't as fun and convivial. And we didn't want people to just come out for their birthdays. It just wasn't fun anymore. Like it felt like that's not what we wanted. We wanted people to come for any reason, and that's what it used to be.
Right.
Any reason, doesn't matter if it was your birthday or there was no you're just bored.
Yeah, or you just want to come in on a Saturday night and get some salmon nigiri.
Exactly. So and now I feel like we've nailed it back to where Parachute was for this neighborhood in Avondale, because I feel like it really fits.
Yeah, I think the ideology is the same. The food is definitely different than when we started, because that's all a different model. But I think the ideology of the place is kind of back where we started.
Parachute Hi-Fi is here. Anelia is a stone's throw down the street. You own both restaurants. 2 of you work at both restaurants. Jesse, what's that like for you doing pastry both here, and you're still doing it down the street too, right?
Yeah, I kind of ping pong between the two throughout the day, but I would say most days I start over at Anelia, and I probably have more production over there. It kind of just depends on how busy one was the other night. I usually just check both restaurants in the morning and then go from there. But I like that,
Yeah.
a lot of like clarity happens in that block, walking between. If you like need a moment, it's like amazing how much your mood you can like walk into the door and be like, wow, I feel 100%
Really?
better. Yeah.
Just like 200 feet away.
It's 200, yes.
That's all it
great
takes.
200 feet.
sure.
So
I can second that.
Yeah.
Just like it changes your whole, like if you're having a mood at one place, you just go to the other place and it like, oh, it's different here.
Yeah.
Yeah, birds are singing. There's a playground, and it's like it's you get reminded. It's like it's
There
like,
is a playground in
yeah,
between.
literally right there. Yeah.
That's funny. Did you ever like go and like,
Get on the swings. Yeah.
yeah. And how do you two, I mean, if you're on the same page, like how do you bring it around where you are always balanced and then transfer that information to your team?
Oh, we're just like stay up until 3 a.m. talking about this shit all the time. It's like, yeah, I think
like,
that's what it is. Just like we just talk all the damn time.
I swear we do spend like a lot of time just working things out at home before making decisions. So we come with a plan because it's so important that we're on the same page.
There's just so many aspects, like repairs, maintenance, HR, menus, events. Like there's just so much to talk about,
Yeah.
and it's just never ending. So I think it's just we live together, we work together. It's easy to communicate, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
The thing that's crazy about the story is the fact that it's just a normal service. I was working at a steakhouse and it was the middle of rush. It was 7 o'clock at night and the power goes out. So full restaurant. And I was like, well, all right, looks like we're going to start shoving people out the door. And like my manager walks up and is like, everything runs on gas. Like we're just going to go. And I was like, what about the POS? What about all this stuff? So we did. We ran like a 2.5-hour service. Like I'm writing checks by hand. We like have all the windows open because the hoods are off. So the place is just like filling with smoke and all these people are just eating their steaks, like acting like it's completely normal.
In the dark.
In the dark. And people are trying to like cash out. And I'm just like, sure, like, do you have enough cash to cover the bill? Some people are like, no. So I'm like writing down people's credit card information, like keep pulling my phone out to do tax and everything.
Yeah.
And after everyone leaves, the power comes back on maybe like 30 minutes after. There's no congratulations, no nothing. They're just like, well, that was just another Thursday night. Like, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Years and years ago, like this is when I was working in Cincinnati. I was probably in my early 20s. You always had to make sure the door was shut, but during service, mid-service, 8 o'clock on a Saturday, and somebody left the door open after like smoking a cigarette or something, and this guy came up, and he had a knife, and he was like, "I'm gonna kill all you motherfuckers!" Right in the middle of service, and everyone's like, you can imagine like fire, 6 lamb, and then this guy bursts in, he's like, "I'm gonna kill all you motherfuckers in here," and everyone's like.
So what happened? What was the resolution?
I remember the sous chef at the time. Was like, "Get out!" And then he just left.
And that was it.
Yeah, he just left.
So you didn't have like a line of cooks coming back with your knives?
And then we just like Jason, then we just went back to working.
Like it was normal.
We had a life.
But I feel like that's the thing about this industry is that like things that like will sound insane to so many other people on the outside are totally normal. Has anybody just fallen into working in the industry? Like I know that you both went to cooking school, but did you find yourselves all of a sudden being like, oh, I'm in the industry now?
Yeah, definitely. My first, I guess, industry job was one of my best friend's dads owned a restaurant in Bucktown called Jane's that was open
It
for
was my favorite restaurant in the
25
city.
years.
Yeah,
it was great. And bussing tables. I remember turning 21 and there was no bartender, and Chef Tony was like, "Do you want to learn how to bartend right now?" I was like, and then a few months later, and I had a beverage program, wine, and all of that stuff. So ever since that, I think like I'm kind of chasing that kind of feeling.
Sure.
You work a lot, but also, I don't know, I'd rather spend 55, 60 hours a week at a place I really like than 40 hours somewhere that that's it's kind of draining. Yeah.
We moved here to 1840 West Hubbard Street in 2001. And in the 20 plus years that we've been here, we've seen this neighborhood really blossom. There are a number of antique and decorative type stores on Grand Avenue. And so this has become a little bit of a design destination, which we're thrilled about, because if people are coming to visit us, we would like them to have other places to visit as well.
What is one big challenge that this team faces? Front of house, back of house. Natalia, is there anything that like a challenge, something you find challenging on any given night or that you've experienced even in the last week or so?
I got too many challenges, actually. It's to feel confident, when English is not your first language. Korean food is something new for me, and it's always interesting, but it's challenging for me. But though I like it.
And what about front of house? I mean, is that like, what are some challenges that you find? Even something recently that happened, like, what do you experience?
I mean, it's part of it's just the pacing, because I think there is just a limitation of space where having, we'll say hypothetically, 4 sets of hands here is maybe the maximized amount of hands that are beneficial, because throwing more bodies at it isn't going to make the space any larger or anything like that. So we open up and we have 8 tables immediately sit down. You can't have, you might have 2 people swarm those tables, but then you've got food that needs to be ran, you've got drinks that need to be ran. And so it's just kind of maximizing the balance of space limitations and the staff, I guess.
We have such a small team, which is so lovely. Everybody, most people want to be a part of a small team because we all know each other. We all, like, there's some restaurants you might go to, you don't even know the whole staff, and it feels like maybe you're just a cog in the system. But on the other hand, if someone is sick or is missing, it means it's hard to even take a vacation for me and John, because it does happen. So then we have to step into those roles. Really hard to plan, but we still love it. We still love having these small, these boutique restaurants are very special, but like there is some sacrifice in the back end for that.
I'm sure.
I mean, perfect night for me is like an actual profitable day. Like it's, I think the priorities over the years have changed. Like years ago, you're like, oh, if I just made the best food and the best dishes or something. Now I'm just like, it's never been so difficult to try to have a profitable business. So it just makes it feel worthwhile if you can actually do it.
So somebody who's looking to break into the industry, whether front of house or back of house, what sort of advice do you offer to them?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
No, I'm just kidding. I know everybody says that, but it's just really hard. Yeah. It's a hard job, and I think everybody would admit that here, that it's a hard job, but we're all still doing it for some reason.
Yeah, passion. Right.
It's some sort of passion. Yeah. Some days it doesn't feel like that, but there's something in there that keeps the flame alive.
I mean, you have to love it, and I think you'll know very quickly if you're going to love it or not. Obviously, people burn out with anything over time, but I'm now in year 17 of doing this, and I look forward to the next 17. Like, I can't think of anything else that I would rather be doing. That's just
really nice.
Just kind of in my blood at this point.
Yeah. One of the things that we haven't yet talked about is that you were on Top Chef. How did that impact your career and your ability to do what you are doing?
That whole thing was a trip. And I don't think I set out like thinking I was gonna be on Top Chef. And I had a 17-month baby at home. I went for it. I was scared as shit. It's one thing, we kind of live Top Chef every day. Every day there's a new challenge, a new something out of ordinary that you have to figure out a strategy for. So that's something that I'm good at. But doing it in front of people is kind of scary, because what if I look stupid? What if people laugh at me? What if, But I feel like at that time I had nothing to lose. I mean, I was doing it for my kids, my family. I was like, wouldn't it be so nice to go on there and show my kid when he grows up what his mom could do and inspire him. I know like it was important for me to do that, to give myself an opportunity, a leg up. Any leg up in this industry is really important, like exposure, because there's so many restaurants and there's so many chefs, but I also like had many nightmares following that, like just nightmares of waking up in a hot sweat, like competing over something really stupid, like scuba diving for your ingredients. And it took some time for me to shake it off. Like I was like shaken from the experience. But it did help me and John focus on opening Parachute. It gave me this idea like, okay, strike when the iron's hot, like let's go. Let's do this dream, baby, you know, and we went for it.
And you know, you talked about you had a 17-month-old baby. You now have 3 kids. They're all older. You're still working parents. And so you saw this as a challenge for working moms in the industry. So you started the Abundance Setting.
It's a nonprofit to support, and it's a community that supports working women in the culinary industry, but especially focusing on working mothers because of the extra challenge of childcare, the cost of childcare, the time, and the stigma of being a mom, a working mom. So, yeah, my mom, as soon as I had day one, she's like, you're gonna have to give up being a chef. Like, how are you gonna do that? And I was like, well, I'm not. But it was hard. I had to figure it out. And I don't recommend being alone in this situation. I do recommend having a community to support you. I'm really lucky that my partner believes in me. I'm really lucky to have someone who is as passionate about working as hard for any goal as I am, and is willing to push and allow me to also reach my goals. And I think that's amazing for women to see that and see women reach their goals. Yeah, I think it's very important, even in spite of having children or whatever extra that people said you can't do that.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely, chef.
So Parachute, word is on the street, and I've heard you talk about that you may reopen it in a bigger space, more downtown. Anything you want to reveal? Any news we can break right now?
I'll let you know.
That's not the answer I wanted, Beverly. But is it something that you are still considering doing at some point?
Yes. People are like, how do you do with 3 kids? I was like, well, it just made me want to dream bigger, you know? And I feel like, I feel like we have some more in there, some juice in that lemon. So
it's all about the
keeps
timing,
moving,
I think.
yeah.
You know, it's like it's a long process to open a restaurant. You might, especially from the direction of like trying to come up with a theme to your restaurant and put it somewhere. It's almost easier to have a space and I know it will work in that space.
Work backwards, yeah.
So this way is a lot longer to find the right space for a new Parachute, you know.
How do you plan on balancing all of that and spreading yourselves even a little bit thinner?
These guys here. You guys have to stay until we
Like I said, there's a lot of clarity in the walk between. So.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a longer walk. Yeah. Perfect.
Honestly, I don't think we'll ever know how it happens. It just does.
Yeah.
You know? It just does. Everybody kind of makes it just happen.
Okay.
It's just like, it's kind of fluid like that.
What does family meal mean to you all, and why is it important to the restaurant industry?
I think it's a valuable moment for like decompression right before everything kind of starts. You know, you want the team to be themselves, especially like, I mean, whether you're working as a team in the back of house or in the front of house, like your job as a server or bartender or whatever is to give a clear expression of yourself. If you're relaxed while you do it, then I think that's the best way. So it kind of helps to, you know, like to relax, have some good food, talk about your day, get to know the people you work with a little bit better. So, yeah.
I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to sit down with us, for opening your doors to us, for welcoming us into your home, serving this beautiful family meal, and just telling the world a little bit more about what goes on inside Parachute. High five.
Cheers.
Cheers.